Alright guys, the time has come. It is time to talk about Warrior Cats Book 2, and it's going to be full of spoilers. So if you guys don't want in on any of these spoilers, dive out now and join back in after you finish the book. But for now, let's carry on with some little sneak peeks of clips of my reactions while I was listening to the audiobook, and we'll talk about how much stuff I got wrong in just a second. So the latest Warrior Cats book that I'm listening to on Audible, the second book in the first arc, is getting pretty interesting because we have a pregnant cat who is out and about. And that cat is actually Firestar's sister, which is not what I thought when I first was introduced to the pregnant cat. I actually thought for a moment that it was his mother. But I guess it would have made sense if he remembered like his mom a lot easier than remembering his sister, who has now grown and become an adult cat in her own right. And so I was really tickled with that because for a few beats there, I did think that actually Firestar was going to reunite with his mom, and I wasn't sure how I was going to like take that or how he was going to react. And I had completely forgotten any part of the story that had to do with a pregnant non-clan cat. But now that my memory has had a little bit of time to settle, I am actually starting to recall where this cat is from. And I think I remember now a certain family member of Firestar who is not his kit, who is about to be added into the clan. And if it is the one I am remembering, we're about to have some sad stories. So at first I was really excited and I was like, oh, this is cute. This is a way for Firestar to try to add another poor cat who's going to be more or less like rejected by most of the clan for not being clanborn. There's that element to it, but add a family member into the clan. And it is interesting how already here on book 2, we're really starting to delve a little deeper into how the clans act like it's all about clan loyalty. But there is a lot more to the familial bonds of how the cats act than at first blush. That's what I remember about the later arcs of the Warrior Cat series, is that there's really a lot of focus on like the family bonds and who makes a family and who fell in love with who and all of that drama, and not so much about like oh, it's just all you need is loyalty to the clan. Like things become a lot more complicated, and that's what a few people in the first video of reviewing the Warrior Cats books have actually said, is that the earlier books kind of focus on just those abrupt sudden conflicts more based around instinct, but the later books really delve deeper and deeper and deeper into kind of getting muddy with the politics in between the clans. And it's just going to be interesting to see how the familial ties of the cats start having a bigger effect on the story. However, for now, I'm just going to take a little bit to kind of mourn the fact that we are indeed headed into having Firepaw's sister, if I remember this right, and I could be remembering it wrong, add in a new kit to the clan. She's going to donate one of her kittens, if I recall, a scrappy little boy who I think is going to become Crowfeather, and I could be wrong about that, but I think that's Crowfeather, and he doesn't have a happy story in the end. So I'm conflicted about this. I don't know how I feel about this innocent little kitten. He doesn't even know he's going to be like the sacrificial lamb, so Firestar or Fireheart at this point doesn't feel lonely. So we'll see. Alright, so I was delightfully, hilariously wrong on who was actually going to be Fireheart's nephew and being added into the clan. And I am laughing so hard that my brain vaguely remembers that Crowfeather shows up at some point in the series and keeps trying to like stick him in everywhere. And that being said, oh my gosh, so I'm just going to summarize book 2 and 3 this time around because so much stuff has happened, and I just blitzed through the audiobooks in no time because they are such a delight to listen to while I'm doing things around the house. But I think that these were really good, except I always feel a little bit weird about how much of the problems that the cats face are based around just everyone hiding secrets from each other. And these ideas of honor or what's allowed and what's not allowed and having like a relationship in another clan, that was really the arc to me of book 2 and 3, is kind of like Graystripe and Silverstream's pairing, and then also Fireheart having this affection for kin outside of his clan, because there's just this constant feeling of like, well, you weren't born one of us, so I don't know if I can trust you. Which, if you count how many cats are in the clan, I always think that's so weird, because if you don't have outsiders, you're gonna have inbreeding like that. So I always think that's kind of a weird thing for the clans, and I personally, in my stories, like to see more, like from the stories I write about warrior cats, like to see more flow genetically. Either between the clans or with outsiders coming in, or maybe with just some of the queens having like a rogue that they flirt with over there, or maybe finding a kit that they go ahead and rescue more often. And that really doesn't have much of a place in the actual warrior cats world, but I feel like it should, because that would provide so much more organic like content for conflict as new cats are trying to figure out if they belong here, or if they might end up being like Ravenpaw and deciding like, actually I'm gonna leave because I don't think the warrior cat life fits me as well as the life of a loner. I would love to see more conflicts like that, and a little bit less of like, oh, we're all holding secrets from each other and we have to stay rivals even though there's plenty of prairie in the forest. And I get that that's an important part of the warrior cats world, but we'll talk about my feelings about this constant like beating of the dead horse with, oh, we have to have clan rivalries and 4 different clans later. For now, I will say I really did enjoy book 2 and 3, especially because the audiobook narrator is just so fantastic. And I was surprised by how long Graystripe and Silverstream had together, because in my head, my memory said they had like a quick fling and she had kits and died. And in reality, they were together, I think, for the better part of almost a year before she ended up expecting his kits, and before she ended up dying because her kits came too soon, which was so freaking sad. That was really sad. I forgot that Graystripe chose to leave his clan to go with his kits and stay in River Clan, which again shows that permeability that like provides a lot of conflict, but I think would be a little interesting if it had more of a place with less of this. I guess I just find it kind of distasteful to focus on this concept of like blood inheritance and blood genetic importance to being related to clans, because there's just something distasteful about that to me, that you put so much emphasis on things that are outside of the cat's control, like where they were born and who their family is, and so much emphasis on like purity, which I really don't like in any of my stories, unless that's like the main conflict of the story, and that's not really what Warrior Cats is about. But I enjoyed it, and I actually teared up quite a bit when Yellowfang fed her son Broken Tail, or Broken Star, I guess, the berries. Was it Broken Star? I actually, dang it. Okay, I think it was Broken Star. All the cat names are jumbled in my head. When you listen to them rather than read them, I'm finding it, I know who it is while I'm listening, but I find it harder to recall each cat, especially because they change names. So I'm just going to give myself that permission. But when Yellowfang had to feed her son the deathberries, I was really stunned by that scene. And I remember being kind of confused by it when I was younger. And this time around, I can see what kind of difficult decision she made. And I can really understand how she finally had to draw the line of feeling like she was responsible for the situation. It did, however, bring up an interesting thing that I think they call back to later in the series, where I feel like medicine cats who stray outside of this strict idea of like, they'll never fall in love, they'll never have a family of their own, they'll always just dedicate themselves 100% to the clan, and if they think about love or kits of their own, then clearly they're not a good medicine cat, which is always kind of weird to me. But I think we have more of a callback to how medicine cats get quote unquote kind of punished for their decisions later in the series as the arcs continue. And I just don't know how I feel about that, because I have a very complicated relationship with the idea that we have a healer who's supposed to be like a parent to the entire clan, And because of that, they can't put their kits or their love in front of things. But I think I just find love and family and whatever you build your family as to be such an, by choice, as such an important part of life, that it just is really weird to me that we have such an important cat who's not allowed those things. I feel like you're truncating a part of the holistic life experience for a cat. And I mean, they're going to carry all their life experiences into StarClan, right? And you're cutting that off and denying it of them and then punishing them when they stray outside of that. And the flip side is that then you're a medicine cat, but I don't feel like that's a fair trade-off. I just think that I don't like the idea of punishing people or punishing characters or having a world where it's accepted as something like good to punish someone for falling in love in a healthy relationship that like isn't hurting anyone. That bugs me. So I have that big beef with medicine cats. That's why I really don't focus too much on that in the Warrior Cats series that we had in our Sims 3 series, and I feel like I'm going to make some big adaptations to it in the new series that we're going to do. But for the actual Warrior Cats book 2 and 3, Forest of Secrets and Fire and Ice, I flipped them around. It goes Fire and Ice and then Forest of Secrets. I enjoyed it a lot. I remember loving it as a kid, and I really enjoyed going back through it now. The usual things that were frustrating when I was younger, with Fireheart not just coming clean with everything and telling everyone the way that Tiger Star, now that he's Tiger Star, is actually like a bad guy, and the way that nobody would believe him and the way that he was very young, I have a lot more forgiveness for. When I read it the first time, I just wanted to like shake him and be like, just tell everybody, like, for crying out loud. But now I can see kind of this more nuanced situation he was in, where he's a young warrior, he's a kitty pet, so the clan doesn't really trust him a lot. Like Tiger Star now had been part of the forest, and he's extremely strong, he's very charismatic, he has a big following, and you would have to find ways to kind of like chisel that away to be able to take him down. But I also feel like there's this trade-off of, by not at least putting any seeds of doubt out there, a lot of cats get hurt and a lot of cats like get killed and things get worse and worse. So I feel like it's also a lesson in like putting your own neck out there to try to like nip something in the bud a little sooner than this. So all of that said, I really enjoyed it. I'm looking forward to sharing with you guys my thoughts about books 4, 5, and all of the others. I've already been listening ahead quite a bit because I just cannot stop now that we're going again. And I really hope that I will be able to handle what is going to happen, because I think there's a lot of sad things that are about to happen. And I really hope I can manage that okay. So actually, because I've been listening ahead, if you guys want to in the comments, you can hint for the rest of Arc 1 the things that you think are going to kind of like devastate me the most, or the things that you think will surprise me based off of like my terribly inaccurate and hilariously wrong remembering of what the Warrior Cats plot was. And then we'll put it all together, and I'll read through your guys' comments after I finish a couple more of the books. And I think it would be really funny to kind of react to like the things that definitely did get me and the things that I actually was okay with, and just see what you guys guessed, because it's really fun to do all this with you. So, okay, I'm going to try to make these a little bit more coherent in the future. It's just interesting because I'm trying to fit in the Warrior Cat series. I really want to finish at least Arc 1 by the end of the summer, Arc 2 if I can really push myself. But I really have been trying to fit it in. It's just been so busy on our Pixel Biology channel with like Endling and Stray and a bunch of other adventures we have coming up, and then just so busy trying to like live life with my beloved husband Chips that I have been fitting the audiobook in wherever I can. And I'm going to try a little better to like get back to you guys as soon as something happens in the book so I can react to it with all of you, because I think that's really fun. But all right, thank you guys so much for joining me. If you could, do please leave your thoughts down below. I might not peek at them for just a little bit so I don't spoil myself till the end of Arc 1. Please don't give any spoilers for Arc 2 or onward, because I'm working my way through that and finding I sure did forget a lot of stuff. And I will see you guys next time. Bye guys, stay curious.